Hey everyone, it's Jenny. I've been making videos during my commute, and I'm having such a blast reading comments from Weak Hero fans. It's so motivating to discuss this amazing show with all of you. In today's episode, I want to focus on subscriber comments about translation issues. One subscriber told me they've seen 5 different English subtitle versions for the same scene. That's insane! So I thought I'd share some cultural context and wordplay that unfortunately got lost in translation. If you haven't watched Weak Hero Seasons 1 and 2, heads up, spoilers ahead. Let's start with Season 1, Episode 4, when Si-eun first smiled. Such a happy episode, right? Remember, Suho didn't directly ask Si-eun for the soup, he was just muttering to himself in front of the ambulance about wanting oxbone soup. But Si-eun heard him and actually went and bought it. Another subscriber told me there were 5 different subtitle versions. That's insane. Let me tell you what Suho actually said. When Si-eun brought the soup, Suho opens the container lid, looks at Si-eun with this completely puzzled expression, and says, "What is this feeling? I'm getting goosebumps right now." Suho was absolutely floored because Si-eun was actually showing his deep friendship through such a direct, caring action. This quiet, reserved kid had actually listened to his random muttering and went out of his way to buy him soup. Then Suho says, "What's wrong with this kid? No, wait, you're being too warm, aren't you?" And here's where ChoiHyunwook ad-libbed, "Your eyes, actions, way of talking, your expression are disgusting." But this was completely joking. Unfortunately, the English subtitles translated this as, "It feels strange." I understand why they heavily paraphrased it. If they'd used disgusting, it would have caused major misunderstandings for viewers. I think they made the best choice they could. But what Suho actually meant was he was so overwhelmed by Si-eun's kindness that he had to deflect with humor. So he jokingly said, "I feel disgusting right now," as his way of dealing with being genuinely touched. And when Si-eun got the joke, that's when we see his first real smile. This absolutely gorgeous, radiant smile that just melts your heart. Honestly, it might be my all-time favorite moment from Season 1. Then while eating the soup, Suho looks at Si-eun and says, "Are you a ghost?" Which is just Suho's way of joking when he's feeling really happy and finds Si-eun's actions adorable. This is how Suho jokes around. I absolutely love this indirect, roundabout way he has of expressing himself. He's acting like such a typical 16-year-old boy. And this is actually what sets Suho apart from Season 2 characters like Gotak or Baku. When Gotak and Baku are moved by something, they'll straight up say they're touched and express their emotions honestly. But Suho? He's got this very guy way of deflecting with humor instead of being direct about his feelings. I absolutely love Suho's conversational style. This is actually connected to his defense mechanism too. The more depressed he gets, the cooler and more aloof he acts in his responses. But when he finds someone cute or feels touched, he deflects by teasing them with jokes like this. I just found this 16-year-old boy's behavior so endearing. Before buying the soup, Si-eun had just taken down Gil-soo's gang and handed them over to police. Suho was injured and getting treated in the ambulance when he was just talking to himself saying, "I'm so hungry, I want oxbone soup." He wasn't directly asking Si-eun, just muttering about being hungry. When Si-eun responds to always hungry Suho by saying, "Is this guy a bottomless pit?" I think that's actually a good translation, though it was heavily paraphrased. What Si-eun actually said was, "Does he have a beggar in his stomach?" This is cultural context. In Korea, when someone's constantly saying they're hungry and endlessly eating like Suho, we jokingly ask, "Do you have a beggar in your stomach?" So this was actually Si-eun making a joke. Oh, and here's something new I learned from reading the script book. In Episode 4's amusement park scene, when the police show up and Gil-soo bolts, Si-eun goes absolutely crazy chasing after him. And wow, that kid can really run. Suho's running behind them, and then Gil-soo whips out a knife and goes after Si-eun. The moment Suho arrives on the scene, he immediately starts taunting Gil-soo like, "Hey, you need a good beating." According to the script book direction, Suho deliberately provoked the man with the knife to draw Gil-soo's attention away from Si-eun and onto himself to save Si-eun. Now let's talk about Episode 5. At the karaoke when Yeonseok meets the bullies from his old school, that's when the tragic foreshadowing begins. Remember that scene where Suho and Si-eun, both feeling unsettled by Yeonseok's acting out, exercised by the Han River? Suho parks his delivery motorcycle. Si-eun jogs while panting, and Suho lies on the bench. According to the script book direction, Si-eun actually went to see Suho exercising in the morning after his delivery job ended. How sweet is that friendship? But then we get to episode 6, and everything starts getting darker. Yeonseok has completely changed by this point, and you can see how heavy Suho and Si-eun's hearts are becoming. Here's where we see the difference. Between them, though, Si-eun keeps trying to understand what's happening with Yeonseok, but Suho, he's already emotionally let Yeonseok go. And we all absolutely love that scene where Suho parks his bike and waits outside Daesung Academy for Si-eun to come out after his late classes. ChoiHyunwook is great at these detailed everyday acting moments. When he sees Si-eun coming out the front gate, he calls Si-eun's name and stretches both legs, showing he'd been waiting a long time at the gate for Si-eun to finish academy. When calling Si-eun, he says Si-eun-ssi, but because of cultural differences, this kind of joking with honorifics that Suho doesn't translate well, which is really unfortunate. As I mentioned in previous videos, Suho often jokes by calling himself hyung to Si-eun and Yeonseok, who are the same age as him. When Si-eun helps Suho at the meat restaurant where he works and asks, "Isn't it hard working 3 part-time jobs?" Suho says it's nothing, that on weekends he even carries moving boxes at a moving center. When Si-eun stares blankly, Suho jokes, "Why do you want to call me hyung?" He constantly jokes with Yeonseok too, saying things like, "Don't you trust hyung? Just trust hyung." As you know, hyung means older brother, and in Korea we have honorific culture where if you're male, you call someone older than you hyung, or hyungnim. All 3 of them are the same age, so there's absolutely no reason to call each other hyung, but Suho jokingly refers to himself as hyung. This directing choice has so many symbolic layers. I think it shows how he genuinely cares for Si-eun and Yeonseok as friends, and wants to be their guardian, just like his name Suho means. It also reflects his maturity as someone who's still a kid, but also the breadwinner for his family. And there's this natural way he establishes himself as the top of their friend group hierarchy through these jokes, not in a mean or manipulative way, but just casually acknowledging his position. Of course, Si-eun and Yeonseok never actually call him hyung, haha, this honorific joking from Suho appears everywhere. After waiting a long time with his bike parked for Si-eun to come out of Daesung Academy, as soon as he sees Si-eun, he calls Si-eun-ssi. Si is less formal than nim. In English, you have the honorific sir, right? Nim is closer to sir, while SSE is a less formal honorific expression that you'd use with coworkers you're not close to or when you need to be polite. But here's where it gets interesting. This is another example of Suho's humor style. He says things like, "Hey Si-eun-ssi" as wordplay. He actually adores Si-eun and feels incredibly close to him and has this deep friendship, but he's being playful by adding the formal SI to someone he's actually super close with. It's like if you started calling your best friend Mr. John. It's funny because of the contrast between how formal it sounds and how close you actually are. In many cultures, but especially in Korea, calling someone by a nickname means you really adore that person. Suho basically uses Si-eun-ssi like it's Si-eun's nickname. That's how often he does it. When I have more time, I'll explain more of Suho's wordplay and other characters' wordplay from Class 2. Class 2 has so much wordplay, especially Seongjae. In comparison, Si-eun hardly does any wordplay at all. Haha. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Bye.